is the primary liaison between the Fourth Estate and the Office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet.
Every day, we are working to build a more inclusive economy and a stronger, safer country.
Hear all of the latest developments as the Davis administration carries out the broad mandate of progress and change. Our live weekly press briefings provide full access to current newsmakers on the most topical issues of the day. We facilitate prompt responses from cabinet ministers on the latest reports and get answers on the issues that matter to you.
Will any penalties be levied against the
OPM Press Now, keeping you in the know.
The Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press conference keeps Bahamians in the know. Each week, we also feature a new Bahamian food business.
Many of these businesses were started during the pandemic, and they really highlight Bahamian resilience and ingenuity. Today, we have
Kathy's Bakery,
Nutty Bavarian Bahamas,
proud owner of Sensational Goodies Pastries.
Get your small business featured in the weekly OPM press conference and share your dream with the country.
To our guests, media partners, listeners, and viewers, a pleasant good morning. It is a pleasure to welcome you to the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, and thank you so much for tuning in week after week. We have an exciting briefing planned for you today, and so without further ado, I'm going to welcome Deputy Press Secretary Keishla Adderley, who is going to introduce our speakers for today. Keishla.
Thank you, Julian, and good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you as usual, including some new faces. Good morning. I hope this is the start of a great day for everyone. Well, we have a lot to get to this morning. We are joined firstly by the Acting Director of Education, Ms. Dominique McCartney-Russell. Now, as public schools begin to make their way or continue to make their way back to normalcy, Director McCartney-Russell will discuss the Ministry of Education's progress on everything from bolstering graduation rates to the progress of the learning loss initiatives, which were, of course, brought on or necessitated by the disruptions of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're also joined this morning by some familiar uniforms, the Royal Bahamas Police Force. We were all angered and saddened this week, of course, by the unfortunate, despicable act visited upon a child. We will speak to police and their sexual offenses unit in particular about what everyone can do to safeguard our children. Now, downtown Nassau and its appearance remains a priority of this administration as they seek improvement projects. Of course, we've recently had the opening of the port, and we are all excited about what that's done for the downtown Nassau product. But there are some negative aspects we're still working on, in particular the eyesore created by some of those derelict buildings at the eastern end of Bay Street in particular. We'll speak to the lead of the Tourism Revitalization Unit, Senator Randy Roll, about what will happen in the days ahead to continue to correct that and continue to beautify the area. But we will start things off with the Acting Director of Education, Ms. Dominique McCartney-Russell, on education.
Thank you so much, Ms. Adderley. Yes, we've had a very awesome year in education, and we'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the initiatives that we would have advanced this year. Our mission at the Ministry of Education is to provide a very robust, quality, formal, informal, non-formal educational experiences for our children. We recognize the need to ensure that our human capital positively contributes to the development of our country. Our students must be equipped with the requisite skills, a multiplicity of credentialed literacies, behaviors, and values to prepare them for this unpredictable, globally competitive climate. As you are all aware, 2 years ago, we were asked to go throughout the community because after the pandemic, we discovered that many of our children were not accessing the virtual platform. And so we advanced all of our community stakeholders and our team leaders, and we went looking boots on the ground for our children. We were able to track, and we are now at 90% attendance. Of course, we have 40,591 students in the public education sector, and so it means that there are 4,000 children who do not come to school consistently, and so we are providing targeted support for them. We would have engaged 30 attendance officers with this initiative, 20 in New Providence and 10 in Grand Bahama. And so we are at a solid 90%. We're really appreciative of the Prime Minister's Delivery Unit who support us in this effort. We've enhanced our reporting, our tracking, and of course our remediation. Because of the pandemic experience, the issues were exacerbated. We discovered after diagnosing our children, we did a diagnostic test for all 40,000 plus children, and we discovered that 40% of our students needed some form of remediation. We would have done 2 rounds of testing thus far. The remediation being offered now is individualized, it's targeted, it's personal per child. And so our team members, as well as Renaissance, who is assisting us with this process, they're providing those opportunities. And we're looking forward to 2 rounds of testing, 1 in September, 1 in November, to continue that process. We want to provide, as I said, targeted, personalized opportunities for all children, particularly in literacy and numeracy, which are the foundational skills. We have also instituted, of course, the School Resource Officer Program, and that is led by Dr. Chaswell Hanna, and it's doing a fantastic job in our schools. These officers have been trained specifically to meet the needs of a diverse group of students. And we will also seek to, this year, include 2 tracking officers to support our enrichment programs, also to support our intervention programs for students who have behavioral issues. We do have some of our students who sometimes do not benefit from the general population, and so they are geared towards smaller environments, smaller alternate schools. And so we're seeking to ensure that we provide opportunities for them to excel as well. There is a targeted focus on special education. We have audited all of our classroom spaces and our resources. We have partnered with Barry University. We have 14 teachers who are completing their master's degree in special education, and they will be completed next year. We've also recruited 22 special education teachers, and they will be posted throughout the country so that those students who need that added support are given opportunities through pull-out programs as well as through after-school and early morning classes. We have also sought to provide greater access and, of course, quality to all children. We're living, and I always say, our schools exist in unprecedented times. And so there has also been a major restructuring exercise to ensure that we put the right people in the right position so that we can get the matters of education completed. We have reestablished the Teacher Recruitment Committee, and so far we've recruited 344 teachers for this school year. There is an additional need for 55 teachers in specific areas: language arts, mathematics, science, physical education, social studies, modern languages, computer studies, visual and performing arts. And the recruitment exercise is ongoing. We are presently waiting for the vetting of those teachers, and we are working on their geographical allowances, rent, etc., so that they are ready to go come the opening of school. Our focus this year is also on curriculum reform. We have analyzed or had an analysis of a critical indicator, we would have looked at our GLAT for the last 10 years, and we have instituted some strategies to give support to skills development at that foundational stage. We're also seeking to provide or ask for a consultant to look at mathematics, because we have really had some issues in mathematics. We've been struggling. Our students have not been we've had no gains in mathematics, and so we're seeking to see how we can improve in mathematics. We're also seeking, particularly because of the pandemic, how we can ensure that we provide more experiential, more authentic learning in science, and so we're asking our team members to provide access to field trips, more hands-on learning. We are also, as you may be aware, engaged in expanding our career and technical education program. We are also seeking to ensure more students have credentials by grade 9 in information and computer technology. We're also reforming our primary lower level curriculum. We've talked to team members on the ground, our teachers, and they've indicated that it is so content heavy. You know, the last 10 years have shown us that we really need to reform the lower primary to focus on literacy and numeracy, and to ensure that the foundation is laid so that students can do well in other subjects. We have a history text coming out chronicling 50 years, and our writers include historians, archaeologists, professors, and researchers. We're tracing our roots. We're looking at colonialism, emancipation, family island history, and of course the modern Bahamas. We're also seeking to reform our civics education. We want to inculcate a sense of national identity, particularly in regards to what we're seeing in our country. We want our students to understand that they are here to help build their country and not to tear it down. And so we're seeking to build that that sense of national identity. There is also a focus on arts integration in the core curriculum because of the many benefits that it has. We have a consultant, Dr. Bennett, and we want to provide a holistic and authentic education that provides real-world examples and that allows our children to have student-centered opportunities and help them find meaning in what they're learning. We're seeking a partnership. We've already started meeting with the University of the Bahamas to create standards for dance and drama. We want to ensure that students have access to the performing arts, and so we are creating the standards, and we want to partner with the university to create an associate's and a bachelor's degree in those areas, because right now, particularly in dance, we have 5 teachers in the country, and performing arts is even less than that. And so there is a focus on performing arts as well. As it relates to our curriculum, there are other areas that we're looking to reform, but the ones that I've mentioned, are the key areas for now. As it relates to the Bahamas High School Diploma, you will be aware that we would have, because of the intervention of the Bahamian people, the commission identified some recommendations, and we were asked to put those recommendations in place. And as a result of that, we have now 3 options or 3 pathways for students to obtain a Bahamas High School Diploma. We have a general pathway, we have an honors pathway, and we have an inclusive pathway. And by inclusive, I mean our students now do not only have to utilize the BJC as a criteria. There are some certifications, some equivalencies that they could utilize once they are vetted, such as the City and Guilds or the A+ certifications. And so we have expanded the opportunities for students to obtain a Bahamas High School Diploma. There is also an expansion of our TVET offering. We are seeking to bring on a Polytechnic Institute of Excellence, and that's going to expand the options for students in advanced training and greater opportunities for immediate employment, for example, in construction trades, in welding, in plumbing, etc. And so the Old Bahamas Academy school on Wolf Road, that is actually being constructed, and we will have the Polytechnic Institute of Excellence there, and we are seeking to bus our students there and give them those opportunities. The LJM Maritime Academy will also be there. And we want to remove really the stereotypes in regards to TVET. It is a viable option for our children. In fact, more than 70% of our children go towards careers in TVET. And so we want to advance opportunities for them that will give them access to training, access to apprenticeship, access to opportunities. There is also a focus on the technical cadet course, We're expanding that to include more options with an optimized apprenticeship program. As you may also be aware, we are also seeking to ensure that our children who are 3- and 4-year-olds, that they have access to universal pre-primary education. And so where we cannot offer that, we have engaged partners, private operators, and we would have engaged 18 of them last year, and that program is going very well. Our students are receiving the quality educational opportunities because our teachers have been trained, and we're also providing training for those private operators as well, and they are vetted by our preschool council. BTVI is also expanding its apprenticeship program in a number of our islands. We have partnered with them, and so they will move to Eleuthera and Abaco, Exuma. They're already in Grand Bahama and New Providence, but we're expanding their reach so that our children have access to those programs when they leave high school. And of course, we have a second chance program for those who may not graduate with a Bahamas High School diploma, and that's the Smart Start program. And we are going to, well, we have already started tracking those students, and we're encouraging them to participate in that. I'm trying to go quickly. Our focus, too, is to ensure that we meet the needs of all children. And so there is a focus on our special services for those students who may have intellectual deficiencies or global development deficiencies, learning disabilities. And so we have begun the process of identifying standards. We want a public-private partnership with professionals to provide services such as neuropsychological, occupational therapy. You know, we're in need of audiologists, optometrists, etc., in support of when we assess our children, providing remediation for those students. There is a focus on emotional intelligence. We would have discovered that not only did our children present knowledge and skills gaps, but there were communication gaps, there were motivational gaps, there were environmental gaps after the pandemic. And so as a result of that, we saw the need to ensure that students have access to training that allows them to develop their emotional intelligence and of course develop their well-being. And so we're seeking to provide child-friendly spaces, we're seeking to use art therapy, all of that to ensure that they are well as they ensure that they have empathy and sympathy towards their peers and, of course, towards their teachers. And so our guidance and counseling department, under the leadership of Ms. Cleavette Gibson, they're working on that program to continue to develop it because we've started it already. School plant management. This is also a big one for us. This year we've we will spend over $30 million in school repairs. And so we're looking for how do we ensure that we can maintain our schools year-round. So we're seeking to implement a year-round maintenance program that includes hazard mapping so that we can mitigate some of the smaller need for repairs so that by the time we get to summer, we're only focused on those structural, plumbing, and electrical issues. And so that's something that we're assiduously working on, because we realize that there is a need for a year-round maintenance program. In technology, we are providing high, low-tech, and no-tech opportunities, because sometimes the technology doesn't always work. And so our team, they are putting a strategic plan together that allows us, if there is no technology, that students have access to quality educational opportunities, where the information or the knowledge is downloaded from our repository, and students have on-demand lessons when they are needed, regardless of whether there's connectivity or not. And so the team is working on that as we speak, because we don't know. This is a dynamic environment, and we want to always be prepared. There's so much more, but I'll focus on professional development. All of our training is focused on creating student-centered, personalized, authentic, experiential learning. And I said, particularly because of the issues with the pandemic, we want hands-on learning for our children. And so training would have started this summer for those teachers who participated, and training will continue in October, in February. Those are the main times. And then during our staff meetings for differentiated instruction training. We have partnered with UB to reinstitute the Institute of Educational Leadership Program for school administrators to build professional capacity and to prepare our leaders as well as our teachers for what we call future-proofing opportunities, to prepare them for the future. And we are seeking to create an efficient HR process because we see the need for providing a smoother operation. It's one of the areas where we struggle. Our team members have said to us it just takes too long to get things done in the Ministry of Education, and so we're seeking to digitize a lot of our processes that will allow for greater efficiency. So that's a focus. And finally, we are also seeking to institute a national parenting unit, and because there's the linkages between the home and the school and the community is so important. Seminal studies show that when the school is involved in educational opportunities for our children, that students excel the more. And so we are engaging in a national parenting initiative to provide support and training for our parents to create and, of course, sustain those linkages. Thank you.
Are there questions for Acting Director Russell?
I know when you're talking about the high school diploma, you talked about the inclusive aspects. You spoke about the other two pathways, the general and honors part.
Okay. The general pathway for the Bahamas High School Diploma, the student has to, in terms of the academic aspect of it, they are required to have the math BJC as well as the language and any other 2 subjects. They're also required to have 80% attendance and punctuality. They're required to do 30 hours of community service, 20 hours of job readiness training, and 2-point GPA. Almost forgot that. They have to have a 2-point minimum GPA. The honors pathway allows for those students who excel. They have to, included in the other 2, science has to be a third option in BJC. They have to have science and then any other subject. They also have to ensure they have a minimum of 1,000 SAT or ACT score of 20. We also ask them to participate in at least 3 leadership opportunities on campus and participate in extracurricular activities. Yeah.
You talked about the 2 rounds of testing for learning loss. How will that take place in the new year, the school year?
Well, we would have, in terms of the testing, we would have received 20,000 devices, and so they have been sent to the various districts to support this effort, and we have put together a schedule so students take the test. It's just a 20-minute test, and during that 20 minutes they are given a question. If they answer the question correctly, they're given a more difficult question. If they do not answer that correctly, it goes back down. And so it's a real good targeted test that allows us to really see where the issues are. And so students will be scheduled and they will take the test for 20 minutes. And once the results come in, Renaissance assists us with the remediation opportunities. They actually provide strategies, lesson plans that the child can actually, on their own, they can do their own sessions. But of course, we have teachers who will be in the space, and we are asking our community partners who are already assisting us, Rotary and Kiwanis, some churches who are assisting us with that process as well. So the students will be given support. It's almost like a coach on the side of them, assisting with the remediation.
Yeah, I know when Hannah Martin came here, she said in May, there was 3,500,000 students that were tested in 150 schools, but they still needed to be more students that needed to be tested. Have those other students been reached? And so far with those new students, was there any new other observations since then?
Well, right now, the majority of those ones who were not tested have been tested. There are some schools, for example, CV Bethel, who indicated that the connectivity on the campus was just so bad that when you sought to test 25 students, you were not able to get 25 on the platform. And so they would have had to test 5 at a time, which is just preposterous. And so we're seeking right now to improve our connectivity on those campuses. It's CV Bethel that has complained, C.R. Walker, T.A. Thompson, and another school. And so we're adding to that. Now, in regards to the remediation, we have seen some gains already, although it is, in my estimation, a little bit too quick for us to say, it has gone up 10%, etc. Right now, we want to ensure that we fulfill the entire program. And so that means that we have to do those 2 other rounds of testing and 2 other rounds of remediation to be able to give a good picture of what's going on the ground. Yeah.
The new school year is fast approaching. What are our preparations looking like in terms of if any renovations are needed, maintenance of the campuses?
Yes, we actually have been visiting campuses, and we have, I think, over 97 projects. However, not all of them have started as yet. We have spoken to contractors, and they have said to us, you will be ready for the 28th of August. So we are hoping that we are ready. For the most part, a lot of the contractors are working. They're doing a fantastic job, I think, based on what we would have seen. And we're hoping for the best in terms of the schools being ready for the opening.
What about security measures? I know in previous years there have been violent incidents on campuses. What's the plan moving forward for this school year?
Yeah, we've started already with the expansion of the SRO program. And so where there are hotspots, we have asked for a greater number of officers. We have put more officers in certain schools, and so we are prepared for the new year in that regard. We're also increasing our surveillance on campuses so that schools would have cameras on campus, and that actually helps with the protection as well. We're also providing training for our school leaders in strategies for school, we call it school development in terms of behavioral modification, so that our senior masters and mistresses in particular have those strategies to know how to deal with challenged students, but also providing strategies for the teachers as well. What strategies can you utilize in your lesson that allows you to ensure that students are engaged, and to be able to look for those at-risk signs, and of course be able to channel those students to either the guidance counselor or the senior master or mistress or one of our other partners. So we're doing a lot of training, and of course we're providing the more SROs in our schools, even in primary schools too. Yeah.
I know this is rather controversial, but the topic, I apologize in advance, but the LGBTQ plus topic has been circulating all over social media. is the ministry minded to take that on, or there's no stance?
When you say take that on, what do you mean?
Well, there is talks of including it in a curriculum. Some are opposed, some are for. Where does the ministry stand?
When you say included in the curriculum, I'm not sure what you mean in terms of letting students know what is there.
Yeah, well, I guess my assumption is to ensure that they are aware of what is out there.
Our students are aware, in our health and family life education program, our students are aware of all of the issues surrounding education. And so they would be aware of what LGBT means. They are aware of, even in our religious studies curriculum, of loving people regardless of who they are. And so students have that awareness. It's in our curriculum in the sense that students know what is out there. Yeah.
A little bit more on that. What do you mean? It's being taught? Because right now it's been circulating on social media that there's this book that's in bookstores now. Is that book in the schools? Would expound on that for us, please?
No, that we heard that as well. We have not gotten any. We were not able to, validate that alleged. Yeah.
As the director, when you say they are aware, is it being taught? What exactly is happening?
When you look at the health and family life education, for example, students would be aware of what LGBT means. What that community stands for. We're not teaching it as a, okay, this is an alternative lifestyle for you, but we want them to know what is in their midst. For example, in our religious studies curriculum, we teach the different religions. We teach what is out there, not necessarily for students to participate in, but to know what is there. Just what I said, definitions, basically.
Just an answer question. I know I'm jumping the gun, but we're in August, and typically by the end of August, we usually get the official BGC results thus far. Has marking been completed so far, and with examiners, have they seen already improvements compared to last year and more students taking the exam, sitting there this far?
We don't have that information yet. Normally, we get the national results normally by August 10th. And so hopefully by next week, we will have those results. We'll know how our students fared with BJC and BGCSE. And once we get those results, we actually take them, because some of our students are waiting on them for the Bahamas High School diploma, to meet the criteria. And we will then be able to say where we are in regards to how many students took the exams, how did they fare, how many students graduated with the Bahamas High School diploma, etc. So once we get that information, marking it is done. And so I'm sure we will have those results either by next week or the week after, which is a norm.
So the teachers, do we have sufficient to cover schools when they open here in the province as well as the Family Islands?
We are not there yet. As I said, we still need 55 teachers, but where there is a need, we are seeking to engage our retirees, our supply teachers, and then of course we would have advanced paperwork to ask for some to come back on a contract. And so we believe that for the most part, we will be ready. We have a team working well to ensure, particularly that our family islands are outfitted, because that's where we had a lot of the issues last year. So we're ensuring that that is done, because we found that most of our retirees are in New Providence, and so we can meet the needs much faster in New Providence, and so we're seeking to ensure that family islands get the teachers that they need first.
It was after the Stephen Dillard student found bullets on school grounds that there may be discussions. It was already ongoing before the incident, maybe discussions of bike searches in primary schools. And you had to speak to parents after the holiday. Has that been concluded that that will be happening?
It will not necessarily be an everyday thing, simply because that's not something that we want to promote at the primary school level, but we certainly will have that done, but periodically, every now and again. We did speak to parents at a particular school, and they agreed because they wanted to make sure that all of the children were protected. But before that is instituted, of course, we will provide education for our children so they know why these things are happening. And of course, that will also perhaps help them to look out for these dangers.
$30 million, you said, to be spent on school repairs. How many schools involved? What's the scope?
Right now, I know we have 97 projects, and some of those are very large. For example, I know we are putting a classroom block at Patrick J. Bethel, one at Cooperstown Primary. I know that we're finishing the school in Grand Bahama, the Holmes Rock Junior High School. So some projects are very large, but some are just cosmetic. We have some districts that only need cosmetic support, like Andros, because they had a lot of major repairs done last year. And so, you have from small, to very large projects.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Director Russell had a very comprehensive review. Thank you. We're going to turn now to the issue of tourism, which is obviously very important for us. The Davis administration has made significant gains over the last year and a half or so, restoring the tourism products. Certainly arrivals reflect that. But we are also working assiduously on the physical plant, downtown Nassau in particular, and the removal of any eyesores that may create a deterrent for our guests. We're going to speak now with the lead on the Tourism Revitalization Unit, Senator Randy Roll, and what is planned in terms of the progress of this project. Senator?
Thank you very much, Keishla. Pleasant good morning to all. All right. Good day to our media colleagues and all those watching via live stream. Today, we are here to provide an update on the great things that the Bay Street Revitalization Unit and the government is doing with the revitalization of downtown Nassau. Right before I begin, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank our Deputy Prime Minister for allowing me the opportunity to serve as the lead in the overseeing the upgrades as it relates to downtown. I know we are all eager to see the true potential of our city center fully revitalized. Our hope for downtown is to be a place of national pride for Bahamians, where guests are able to really experience all that we have to offer. I advised in the Senate last week that we have drafted an action plan for the reimagination of downtown Nassau through several key initiatives that we intend to roll out over time. We have zoned downtown into four focal areas to allow for a focused approach on specific needs. Zone 1, Navy Line Road to Frederick Street. Zone 2, Frederick Street to Parliament Street. Zone 3, Parliament Street to Elizabeth Avenue. And Zone 4, Elizabeth Avenue to the bridge. We intend to execute targeted initiatives to help better manage these areas, as well as to understand the concerns of stakeholders, the demolition of derelict buildings. We started this process a few months ago with some of the buildings, and we will continue until Bay Street is transformed. Demolition is scheduled to commence this weekend, providing there aren't any electrical issues. We are working along with owners on the logistics. At the moment, we are positive about 4, possibly 5 buildings east of East Street that is being eyed for demolition. I want to say as a note, these buildings and the demolition for this first phase will cost the government nothing. The committee has met with the AMMC, and we are satisfied and agree the way forward on these moves. We are also working with the owners of the downtown businesses to get this done with their full support. They have been very helpful and accommodating, and they see the value and importance of growth and development for the entire country at large. the cleanup of downtown. We have already begun our pressure washing initiative to address the odor that often penetrates the smell of our city center. Pressure washing will be done twice monthly, the 8th and the 20th of each month. We know right now this may not be enough, but we have to start somewhere. We hope to increase the frequency in the long term. We know there is still much more to be done. There's been an improvement in rodent and garbage in the main square, Rawson Square, since the relocation of vendors out of Rawson Square. To move further with this issue, we will be increasing the number of garbage bins on Bay Street. At present, there's about 22, maybe 23. We hope this will encourage the proper disposal of garbage by having them in convenient areas. We have also increased times of garbage pickup to avoid old foods and waste from accumulating for long periods of time. We think that this would make an improvement as well. With the assistance of the Department of Environmental Health Services, we seek to address rodent control and health standards of our city center. And we will be working with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and Family Affairs to help manage stray animals. The garbage bin on Junkanoo Beach has been repositioned. I don't know how many of you have passed there lately, but we have removed that, which was a big eyesore for many. And we have increased the collection time from weekly to daily, ensuring a cleaner environment. And since I'm mentioning it, I'm glad to advise the Junkanoo Beach Project, a collaboration between the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Works, and the Junkanoo Beach Association is progressing with architectural layout renderings, awaiting engineering and water and sewage assessments. We hope to provide a detailed update on this initiative in the very near future. The beautification of downtown. Your government is not only working to clean up downtown, but we are going to improve on the beauty that we already know we have there. We intend to erect new planters to brighten up the area, and benches will be strategically placed to enhance public spaces. One such move is for those who would have gone through George Street. One time ago, there was a bus stop at George Street. Since that bus stop has been moved, there are still benches there, and so what we don't want to do is encourage persons to just use it as a sitting area, and so we're going to strategically place those in the areas where it's more helpful for our guests who are transiting through downtown. We will be refurbishing the water features to add to the aesthetic value of our city's landscape. We intend to erect new street signs where they are meant to be. This initiative was started under the Downtown Partnership, but we want to continue it. We are looking at also bus shelters that can be installed at several bus stops for the convenience on Bay Street, making parking more convenient for locals and visitors. This is a 2-week trial period, and we shall be assessing after that time is done. We believe this new operation will help with the traffic and congestion of cars downtown and move downtown towards a bustling city center instead of a busy thoroughfare. Increase of safety and security. In order to ensure guests and residents feel safe, they are moving about the area. We have ensured that there is adequate police presence. We have worked hand in hand with the Central Police Station and the Tourism Police Station Unit to provide increased patrolling of the vulnerable population and the criminal element. We want everyone to feel comfortable to eat, shop, and experience downtown as it is meant to be. Before we began this initiative, there were about 8 police officers patrolling downtown, and now we know the Tourism Police Station has over 80 police officers. So we're grateful to the Commissioner of Police for his presence, for his assistance in that regard. This has made a significant improvement on increasing the safety and security in the area. Partnership with vendors and stakeholders. The biggest part of this project has been our engagement with the business owners, the vendors and stakeholders in our different zones. We have already started these meetings with 2 of the zones, and we are continuing those meetings next week. It is so important to maintain these open conversations with the different groups as we identify the key areas that need improvement. The stakeholders have agreed that since we have began these engagements, they have heard and have been seen better communication. Among the long-term discussions we have been having with them is the introduction of a code of conduct for vendors operating in touristic space. This will provide a clear guideline for how we expect these businesses to represent our tourism product. We are also in the process of hiring a number of tourism ambassadors that we hope to have on street corners that will help with the visitor and guest experience. But that's not all. We understand that flooding is an issue, and in the long term, we will be collaborating with the Ministry of Works to finish some sidewalks and address the flooding issue in the downtown area, ensuring a more resilient infrastructure. Events and activities. We hope to introduce a new initiative called Downtime in Downtown Nassau. We will host festivals and events like our very own Gumbe Festival that has returned to Bay Street after some 20 years. Events of that magnitude will attract tourists downtown, stimulate the economy, and foster community engagement. We hope to feature weekly performances by all law enforcement bands, including the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, the Bahamas Department of Corrections, and have performances by Junkanoo groups and local artisans in Rawson Square and Pompey Square. In addition to us wanting to create an historical park in the rear of Rawson Square, as I would have advised in the Senate, the AMMC is working on having regular historic reenactments in the squares. Our tourism numbers are only growing, with the guests begging for more authenticity. We want to do more in the city center. In the long term, we are looking at creating an art district on the eastern end of Bay Street. We will be working with the creative community to create a cohesive theme, murals, enriching the downtown area with art and culture. The redevelopment of Prince George Wharf and the new Nassau Cruise Port has spurred new experience opportunities for cruise visitors. I am proud to tell the Bahamian people that your government has embarked on an aggressive campaign to revitalize and reimagine downtown Nassau as a bustling hub for tourists and a ripe opportunity for Bahamian entrepreneurship. This downtown revitalization is about Bahamian empowerment and natural development, as we are so excited to see it materialize. The project is all-encompassing and will seek to address everything from the look and feel to the Bahamas City Center. We assure you that we are diligently working on these projects with a focus on delivering tangible and positive results for our community and visitors alike. Thank you, and I am open for questions.
Yeah, Senator Rowe, that valet parking sounds very cumbersome. Where are they parking the cars exactly on Bay Street? It's our understanding that they have agreed, they have an area on East Hill Street that they have some agreement with the persons who are responsible for it, and so my understanding is they're parking it on East Hill Street. Now, is there any consideration for the government putting in place a parking lot downtown?
I'm not certain at this time. Certainly that's something that we've been speaking about,
And we're also looking at some studies as it relates to parking meters as well.
One last question. You said that the downtown demolition will cost nothing. Why will it cost nothing?
No, I'm saying the first phase will cost us nothing because the owners of the buildings that we've identified, some of them, 4 to 5, that we're going to start with, the owners of those buildings have agreed to take on the cost of demolishing their buildings themselves. Mm-hmm.
How many phases anticipated?
Well, like I said, the first initially one, we sent out 9 notices, 9 buildings, and then we've identified some more. The first phase that we want to start in the very near future, like I said, this weekend, all of these individuals, we've had some relationships, some conversations with them, and these are the ones who have agreed that they don't want the government to fund the cost. They themselves are prepared to do it because they see the vision and they wanting to work with us. Thank you.
Any objections so far from any of them?
Absolutely none. Yes, absolutely none. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Rowe. We will now speak with police as we try to move things along and stay within our time limits. Again, we are going to specifically address the issue of sexual offenses, whether they involve children, the elderly, or any person who has the potential to become a victim. We will start things off with police spokesman, Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings, who is joined by her team.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Bahamas. This morning, we're going to speak to you very, very briefly as it relates to sexual assaults that have occurred within the country. We're not going to get into any statistics this morning. However, we can say to you that we have seen an increase. I have along with me officers from our Sexual Offenses Department. I have ASP Atilda Bowles, along with Inspector Donna Barr, and I'm going to invite them to come at this time so they can speak to you. We will also provide you with some tips for parents. We'll also talk to you from the law perspective as well, some things that parents can find themselves before the courts for if they fail to take certain actions with their children. I think this is a very timely topic. Let me just ease the Bahamian people to say that most of the incidents that you see occurring are actually occurring between persons who are known to each other. It is very, very rare that you have an incident where somebody is unknown to the victim. So as I'm indicating, most of the incidents are the higher percentage, and though this information would have been provided by our Commissioner of Police when he addressed the press back in April of 2023. So for ease of reference, if you go back to the diagram that he presented you with, you would see that on that chart there are different categories within rape and sexual offenses, and you can make your reference to that. Commissioner will speak to you later on in the year and provide you with a proper update as it relates to all of these matters. However, at this time, I want to invite ASP Bowles and Inspector Barr, who has responsibility for the investigation of the sexual assaults matter in the country, and we'll take it from there. Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you, Chief Superintendent Skippings. Good morning, Bahamas. I'm ASP Bowles. This is Inspector Barr. I'm responsible for the Sexual Offenses Unit. Like Chief Superintendent Skippings said, there are different classification of sexual offenses. We have the rape, we have the unlawful sexual intercourse, we have the incest. When it comes to unlawful sexual intercourse, we have unlawful sexual intercourse with a mentally challenged person, unlawful sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 14, and then a person between the ages of 15 and 14. We also have indecent assaults. We have unnatural sex. So we have variations of classification under the Sexual Offenses Act that our unit deals with. As relates to incidents occurring as relates to sexual offenses, we have seen a direct correlation between unlawful sexual intercourse and runaways. You will find that you have young ladies or young males leaving home, and you would see they have them reported as missing. For the majority of the times, they are runaways engaging in sexual intercourse. During our summer months, you will see there are increases, and has been for history increased during the summer month of a rise in unlawful sexual intercourse. We have children off from school, and probably there's no proper supervision. And without supervision, they say when the cat's away, the cat's away, the rat will play. Yes. And so that's what happened. I have here Inspector Barr, who is my lead investigator for most of our serious matters, and she will share some more with you.
Good morning. As mentioned, I'm Inspector Donna Barr. Ms. Bowles spoke about unlawful sex and rape. Just to bring it closer, unlawful sexual intercourse speaks to any child who's between the age of 0 to 16. So any up to 16, even though it may be an attack, it's still, in terms of the law, classified as unlawful sexual intercourse. Now, in terms of rape, any person over 16 years of age, whether they're a minor or not, their classification is rape. So there's a difference. So you may hear a child is being raped. In the official classification, in terms of the court setting, it is unlawful sexual intercourse. Now, as Ms. Bowles also alluded to, we're having summer months, unfortunately, is a bad time for our juveniles. We have a lot of propensity for parents who have to work to leave their children home. Sometimes they're left home by themselves. Sometimes they're left with family members or just friends. And we have to be mindful that our children, we have to educate our children properly in terms of who you go around. If you're home alone, what it is you do. If you go by an adult, no matter what that person is, you have to be mindful of what they can and cannot do. We need to teach our children about bad touches, good touches from an early age. We need to teach them about their body parts. Some of the children, they don't know what their parts are. And you will never know what they're talking about until you actually have to break it down and try to get, okay, what it is they're referring to in terms of whether they were sexually assaulted or not. So just starting from that aspect, we need to better enlighten our children so they can be prepared for not only us, but for the wider community.
Just want to add, you would also find that in an unlawful sexual intercourse, you'll find an individual who probably is above the age of 16, probably 20-something, and they are a person suffering from a mental challenge. And so that is considered unlawful sexual intercourse because we treat them in the capacity of a child. So if you have two individuals who are adults because of their age engaging in sexual intercourse, but one of them have a mental issue, we will treat them as a child, and that will be considered as unlawful sexual intercourse. In our investigation, part of our mandate is prevention. Our team would go out into the community and we would educate the different civic organizations, schools on good touch, bad touch, sexual offenses, what you should look for in a predator, what you should look for in a victim. So not only do we speak with our victims, our students, we also speak with the professional staff, the teachers, the counselors. And we always tell them it speaks to any adult who has information if a child has been abused in any type of way, that's physical or sexual, they have a duty to report, especially when it comes to professionals in your professional capacity, such as a nurse, a doctor, a principal, a teacher. And these things you can find under the Child Protection Act. It's online, Section 62, Chapter 106. When you look at the Sexual Offenses Act, there's also failing to report underneath there. So the government consider the child as so important that we put failing to report under 2 legislation. So we must adhere to it. When we look at things we should do to prevent children being victims of crimes such as sex crimes, we need to understand, like Inspector Barr said, who are our kids involved with. One thing I see that most parents do not do is pay attention to their social media interaction. You will find that in the summer, the children are being babysit by the internet, by their phones. In our investigation, we get a lot of our evidence off our phones, off those laptops. So as a parent, it's not that you're trying to be intrusive. You really need to monitor those social medias. You need at times to check the phones, check the tablets, see what's going on. Look at your environment. It's important to understand you cannot bring everyone into your child's life. If you're a single parent and you're interested in someone, you have to do some investigation on that person, not automatically bring that child into the home. And we've had a number of cases where the predator was invited in the home because this is mommy's boyfriend or this is daddy's girlfriend, and they have taken advantage of the child. So proper vetting, and I'm using the police word vetting, of that individual you're bringing into the home is very important. It is very important because we've seen a number of matters going on. Skippin said that the victim and the predator usually knows each other, and that is very correct. And it's very hard to pull out information from a victim when a victim has gone to the parent and said over and over, this is happening to me, but the parent, just neglect to act on that. And like I said, we have something for that. We have failing to report. We're gonna start, but we have really put a lot of parents before the court for cruelty to children, because in our section, we also do deal with child abuse. So we're gonna start doing that. We're looking at your environment. Just look at your environment. If you have young kids and you're hardly home or your home is big, if you have bushes around your yard, I mean, it may not be your property, but let's make some effort to get it cleaned now. We need to see what's going on. And if you're gonna have someone to babysit your child, make sure that it's a responsible adult. A responsible adult is not 18. 18 is not considered a responsible adult. They are an adult, but are they responsible? So we have to look into that. If there's somebody 16, your child is 16 and you have an 18-year-old looking after that child, that is too close of age. They're not gonna respect them. They're not gonna listen to them. And so with those things in mind, I think as a community, as a police force, we could do an excellent job in trying to apprehend these individuals, prevent these young loved ones being victims of crime. Ms. Barr, you have something else to share?
Yes, one other thing. In regards to mandatory reporting, which comes under not only the Child Protection Act, but also the Sexual Offenses Act, be mindful. It's not just a parent. Once you're a care and custody of that child, you are responsible for that child. You can be an auntie, a guardian. Once that child is put in your care, you're supposed to protect that. That means that includes if a child goes to school, the teachers and the school officials now become the care for that child. If they find out that something happens to that child, they automatically supposed to report. That they're mandated. You can be at church and something happens and you find out whatever capacity you are at church, it is also your responsibility because, again, that child comes under your care and custody. So it's not just the parents. Everybody, each one in the society has a responsibility to look out for our child. They are our babies. And we got to make sure they get to where we are. Okay? So I just wanted to reiterate that.
And as we wrap up, just before we take a few questions, we have in the past reported incidents where parents were placed before the courts. I think we need to highlight it more when we do put the parents before the courts. And parents who fail to provide the adequate environment and the safety for their children, we've taken a zero-tolerance approach. And so, from this day forth, you need to ensure that your children are properly monitored, they're properly secured with responsible adults, as failure to do so will result in them being placed before the courts. At this time, we'll take any questions that you may have. And if there are none, then whatever other information or questions you may have, you can speak with us on the side and we'll provide you with an update accordingly. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Superintendent Skippings. I demoted you earlier, I think. Thank you very much for that very comprehensive review and that information. We are at the noon hour, but if there are any questions for me, I'll be happy to take them now.
The question that I have, I think I sent to you earlier yesterday, was regarding, I know the PM spoke about the immigration probe. The grant. Just wanted to know, can you give us a status on that probe currently, and who is conducting it? Will it be the police? Will it be other officials outside the ministry?
Well, what is taking place, which is underway now, I believe, is an interdepartmental assessment, which is being undertaken by executives of the Immigration Department with a view to reviewing policies and procedures and everything to do with the operation of the Immigration Department. The idea, as the Prime Minister has indicated, is to ensure that, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Everyone is on the same page with the policies and procedures, and there is a level of confidence in everything that goes on within the Immigration Department. So that assessment is underway by executives of the Immigration Department.
And the update on the marijuana legislation, when will it be brought to Parliament, given that the AG said it would be brought after independence? Can you verify whether the bill will be tabled before the summer recess?
I can't say that, but I can tell you that within the month, certainly, a consultation is to take place within this month. It'll involve the Health Minister, Michael Darrell, and the Attorney General, Ryan Pinder, to get the views of everyone concerned before the legislation proceeds to Parliament.
And then also there's the concern with the government releasing, the question is, why doesn't the government make a habit of releasing industrial agreements, considering these are deals involving taxpayer funds?
I don't know that. I'm not sure quite how to answer that, but I don't think there's anything deliberate about or anything that's being kept away. Certainly, you're able to speak with union leaders. I know that in the past they've revealed the tenets of agreements, and I'm sure that they would be happy, upon securing these agreements, to share the details of those agreements. Any further questions?
Women's groups was met with Minister Roach to discuss amendments to the Protection Against Violence bill, but the debate has continued in the Senate, and some of the members of those women's group would have expressed some confusion. What does this mean? I guess, what does this mean for the debate? Will the bill still be passed, or is it going to be halted in some way?
Well, the bill is before the Senate, as you know. It has actually been passed this week, but the administration has let it be made known that it is open to amending. Discussions are continuing. It's not a closed door, a locked door. Discussions are continuing, and where there is where the administration feels that there are legitimate grounds to make adjustments, it has been expressed that they are open to do that. Any further questions? All right. Anyone hungry? It's about that time. We're joined by 6 and 4, who is going to tell us about their business and what we can sample today. Welcome.
Hello, and good day to all. We started off in the morning. It's now afternoon. I appreciate everyone that is here. Appreciate the Office of the Prime Minister, everyone that works here, up to the Prime Minister himself, for inviting us and all of those other Bahamian food businesses that actually have been our predecessors in participating in this. It's a great honor to be allowed to come forth and share a little bit about our business and about our products, as we're all here looking to find ways for us to be successful in our endeavors. And so I bring to you 6 and 4. 6 and 4 is a business that has been around for over 5 years, so we are pre-pandemic. We came through the pandemic and survived it, which not a lot of businesses can claim. But there are a lot of things that have happened along the way that have helped us and built us up throughout the course of that time. We are a business that prides ourselves in trying to bring forth the best of what it means to be Bahamian. So we not only look to excel in what we put forth with our products, but we are looking to make ourselves a beacon in the business community in terms of the way that we manage our enterprise, in terms of the way that we serve the community. We're looking to break the mold for much of what it is that is spoken on disparagingly about Bahamian businesses. And so with that being said, I just want to let you guys know that what we have here, and please don't hold it against us because at this time the food has gotten a little cold, but we are a business that we are a fusion food enterprise, so we look to bring the best of international flavors and blend them with Caribbean flavors, Bahamian flavors, and so you'll taste that in the products. We have with us some samplings of burgers, tacos, and wings. We have sliders for the burgers, but those are our products that we serve that are featured. Different flavors that you will taste. You will taste the mangoes, you will taste the guavas, you will taste certain chilies, sweet chilies. There's a blends in some of the tacos, sweet products, some spicy, a different variety. And of course, we utilize all different meats from fish, conch, pork, shrimp, beef. We also have a vegan variety in terms of burgers and also what we do with tacos. And we have them there, and we've been quite pleased with the response that we've been getting from the community. And so far has been so good. But we appreciate everything that our fans have brought to us, and we're looking to take it further and go above and beyond. So I just wanted to introduce 6 and 4 to you, introduce myself to you. I am Wayne Wilson. I'm the proprietor. I'm here representing our team. Along with me are 2 of our managers, Miss Virginia Seymour and Miss Vanessa Munnings, both representing a great team that we have at our establishment. So I don't know that we have any questions, but definitely food is here, and I thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much, everyone. That brings our press conference to a close. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions or queries. We're happy to answer. Have a good afternoon, everyone.